Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the A-Plus League.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the A-Plus Sports League podcast. Week 10 NFL picks, predictions, Survivor, a little trivia. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, subscribe, share along with your friends. We're really trying to grow this podcast a little bit, so any help would be greatly appreciated. I'm your host, Matty Maitai. With me, as always, Matt Libanati and Nick Cometa. What's happening, guys?
What's going on?
Nothing much, just another...
Are you wearing your mask?
I just had it on. Jesus Christ. People want to give me the... I mean...
A look behind the curtain.
I don't want to get fined like everyone else in the NFL. Jeez. I mean, I'm just sitting here with my mask on. Is that such a bad thing? Jeez.
The listeners want to hear your beautiful voice. Yeah, mine's just too muffled. I'm not doing that.
Is my voice muffled?
No, you're good. You're
Am
good.
I good? All right. We're doing well today. You know, last week 7-7, and not to brag or anything, but
That's our bright spot.
I like to tip my cap to that one. I think more importantly, someone changed that to 0-2 on the A+ locks for me. I don't know who did that. I thought it was 10.
Oh, that was, I'm the fact checker here, so that is in fact true. 0-2 on your A+ locks of the year.
Yeah, we'll change that around this week, moving forward. But yeah, it's 7-7, tough week, a lot of ups and downs. You guys want to get into it?
Yeah, well, I unfortunately was 3-11 this week, and I really wish we started this podcast a few weeks before week 8 because I don't think my overall record would be 8-20, but unfortunately it is. And me and Matt at least went 1-1 on our A+ locks, but you're the only one that managed to get the over-unders correct.
True.
Yeah, well, we'll fix that donut this week. But moving forward, I like to say props, though.
We had a nice night of props on Thursday, for sure.
Night.
Thursday night.
Devontae Adams show.
It was Devontae Adams touchdowns, Devontae Adams catches, Jerick McKinnon rushing yards. We didn't get the Jerick McKinnon catches. It was 3.5. He got 3. The fuck. But no, it was a good night for props. We didn't really do any props for Sunday, although we do text back and forth on Sundays with a bunch of props, and we're pretty good on that. I'd say at least 50-50.
Yeah.
At least 50-50. That's all we have to say.
Some weeks better than others. Anyway, so today we're going to dive into each game, go a little bit in depth. We're still kind of changing up the show as we go. Instead of picking 6 games this week, we're going to go into each game, and we'll split up the show. So we'll do half the games this episode, and then we'll do half the games the next episode, and we'll jump into Survivor. So we're going to talk about each game, maybe talk about some fantasy implications, make our picks, make our A+ locks, make our A+ over and under bets, and yeah, let's just kick it off, guys.
Get ready.
First, we're going to start with Thursday Night Football. Thursday night, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. The line is Titans -2, over under 49. Nice division game, guys. Good Thursday night game.
Let's finally a decent Thursday night game. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's not a slogfest shit show, but it's a divisional game. But I'm just glad that it's decent football and it's not Jags, Browns, or something else terrible.
I think it's a good matchup, and then the Colts just don't move the needle for me. I just don't know what to think of them.
The Colts are an unsexy team that play well. That's what they are.
Is that it?
That's fair.
They don't draw a crowd. Phillip Rivers looks like shit, but they have a great defense, good offensive line, good running game, good coaching. It's just
that's exactly my notes. Offense is awful as of late. They can't move the ball well. I think Baltimore figured out a way to get points on the board. I think Tennessee is, as much as the Colts defense is good against the run and in the pass, I think Tennessee's offense is blended pretty well as they have. I mean, Tannehill developing more than not just a run team like we saw in the playoffs, I think Tennessee in the minus 2 is where I'm going to lean here.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on a lot of what I was going to say. Is the Colts again looked terrible. Their offense looked like Phillip Rivers trying to make a tackle from his back. And the Colts are ranked. They're okay on defense. They look a hell of a lot better now with Leonard back, and they're ranked 10th in run stop win rate, but only 21st in the pass rush win rate. And I think that the Titans are going to be able to continue doing what they've been doing offensively. They've got a great O-line, and I think that they're going to be able to put up more points than Indy. And the Colts, for as much as everyone's talked about how good their offensive line is, and it's still a good unit, they've been pretty bad quietly at run blocking, as shown how Jonathan Taylor's been performing. They're ranked 25th in run blocking. I'm going Titans.
This one was a tough one for me. I, on the one hand, saw how well Tennessee did, very good against Chicago Bears. They had played great defense. They really limited Nick Foles. I mean, they let up some garbage points, but the defense started coming together. My boy, Desmond King from the Chargers, makes an impact play first week, recovers a fumble, takes it all the way to the house. But I wasn't that impressed with the offense. Derrick Henry got stuffed by a not that great Bears rush defense. Tannehill was fine. A.J. Brown got his, but Corey Davis got shut out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this Colts defense is better than that Bears defense. So you're telling me they're going to go up against a better defense in a division game, so they're going to be flirting around maybe 20 points, and the Colts just went up against one of the best defenses in the league against the Ravens. I think the market's kind of overreacting. I don't want to be the team that overreacts to the Titans winning. I just saw them fucking get their asses beat by the Cincinnati Bengals 2 weeks ago.
Fair.
I'm going with the Colts +2. It's a division game Thursday night. Give me the team with more talent. Tennessee can't get pressure. I said it last week. They cut Vic Beasley, but him and Clowney, zero pressure. No sacks between the two of them.
Yep.
They can't generate pressure, and now they're going up against a top 2 offensive line in the league. Phillip Rivers isn't very good, but against this Titans D, he might have all day. So I think it's going to be a tight game, but I think the Colts are going to win, and if not, maybe the 2 points is enough.
Very convincing.
I mean, and you're 100% right. Corey Davis got shut out this past game, but it seems like with the Titans offense that it seems to just be a different player every week. Corey Davis goes off every third game. A.J. Brown kind of gets his mostly every game. There's been a couple games where he hasn't done much, but it just seems to be a well-rounded offense where you're never sure who's going to do it to you.
Yeah, and I'll take the home team when it comes down to that. That's why the Colts are technically favored by 1.
Yep.
And the neutral site. That's why I just like the points at home with the Titans, even though I think Tennessee wins by a touchdown.
When I originally saw this line on Sunday night, I pulled the early lines, and the Colts were +3, and I was so tempted to bet it then, but I was just I slept on it, and then, of course, right in the morning, it moved to 2. I'm like, yeah, go figure. So you got to jump on these early lines, or they'll shift quick on you.
Now, would you take Tennessee -2 or no? See, you say like the jump, like a 1 point difference is not like
3 is such a key number in the NFL that, if the Titans just squeak off one, and you can at least push. So I think the Colts can win, but if they lose, they could lose by 3, and then all of a sudden you're missing this out by 1.
Yeah.
A +1. For this, I'm taking the Colts. So I think the Colts can win, but
Yeah.
I feel much more confident with a +3 than a +2.
Yeah, I was just talking to maybe the people listening. Was this an area where if you were to look at this area line, take that +3, would you then go back and take the Titans -1 or 2?
No.
You let that ride and just take.
You'd have to make the Titans a pick 'em for me to even consider it.
All right, so that's where you stand on. That's the pick. Because I was wondering for people listening, would you then try to get a middle ground, or would you just take the good value at +3 and let it ride? But
It's tough to double dip on -3 or -2, but if you can get some live action, if the game starts going one way and you still think that the Titans are going to come back, or Colts are going to come back rather, that you can do it live.
Yeah, if this was like 4-2, and then I'd see where you're talking about. But
Yeah.
3-2, I didn't. I still think the Colts are going to pull this off. So let's jump into the Thursday night props, Nick. You got anything up for me? I haven't even looked.
I didn't see anything.
There's nothing up.
Nothing. Yeah, unfortunately we're filming this on a Tuesday, but another look behind the curtain. So we don't have any props up yet.
I
But
looked at the props. Don't see anything.
what I'll do, Nick? I'll call you tomorrow. And we'll add some props in. And I'll post production this.
I like that. I'll look over just on a broad spectrum, I would like AJ Brown would be a good one, and then I do like Jonathan Taylor to score a touchdown.
That's a good one. One I'd consider just without even looking at it. Depends on obviously the yards. Derrick Henry under on the rushing.
I was going to say that, but I'd never like to do that because he can break one. But it depends on what. It's usually probably going to be around 80, mid-80, mid to high 80s.
I was going to say mid-70s, but yes, fair.
I think it's going to be a big number. And defenses usually play worse on Thursday night, so it is a risky bet to take an under on
Derrick Henry.
The league leader in rusher in the last year and a half. But the Colts run defense is very good. That front seven is nice, and with Leonard spying them the whole time, I just think it's going to be.
The reason why I would probably throw out another one of this is maybe Tannehill's rush yards, because I think Derrick Henry, they're going to have to throw more often.
It's good.
And then Tannehill's going to get a couple spot runs here and there.
Also, one I'll take a peek at, depending on the odds, Mo Alley Cox, anytime touchdown. Like that one.
Somehow seems to always do it.
I mean, when you're 6'9", it's easy. Philip Rivers loves showing like a tall guy. That's a touchdown on my book. I don't care what you say.
It was definitely a touchdown over the Chargers, whatever they did. They didn't know how to catch one in the end zone.
That's Parham, is what I was saying.
Yeah, I referenced
6'8" tight end.
Yeah. 6'8" tight end who definitely caught the fucking ball. Got 3 fucking pieces of his. We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. All right. So that's your Thursday night preview. We'll try to add some prop bets in there when we get some lines. Let's just jump right into the Sunday games.
I got 6 games on Sunday that I'm releasing absolutely free. These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your unborn children on these 6 games. Absolutely.
So we'll start with the Sunday slate of games here. Just jump right into it. First game on the board, we got Houston Texans at the Cleveland Browns. The line opened at the Browns -3, over under 53 points. Guys, what do you think?
For some reason I have a soft spot in my heart for the Texans.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Browns. That makes more sense.
For the Texans, I just like Watson. I like their offense. I just feel like at some point they can put points on the board. Deshaun Watson was still pretty good, but then I looked at it. They've only won against the Jags. They only really covered against the Jags. This Texans team cannot play good, well-rounded teams. I think the Browns coming off the bye, even though without OBJ, I just don't know. I mean, they still have that running attack. Defense for the Browns looks somewhat good. I'll take the Browns and the points. That's the only reason.
Browns laying the points. Correct.
Yeah, Browns -3 is what I'll be taking. No David Johnson probably with a concussion. Doesn't really matter, but for fantasies and prop bet wise, and probably pick up Duke Johnson. Probably will get a good portion of work this week.
That plays big into it, yeah.
But I'll take the Browns.
I mean, you kind of hit again on everything I was going to say. We'll see if David Johnson comes back or not. It's tough to tell this early in the week, but this Browns team is so up and down, and it's so tough to place your faith in them. But it's even tougher to place your faith in what I thought was going to be a middling 7-9 Texans team that clearly looks like it's going to be like a 5 or 6 win team, and that's at best. You're fair, and I'm gonna go. -3 doesn't seem like enough to be home. They're saying it's essentially a pick'em game. I'm taking the Browns.
I'm with you guys. I'm on the Browns -3. Browns are coming off of a bye, which is always nice. Houston looked like fucking trash, and the biggest problem with Houston is Houston got up on the Jags, so they didn't spend as much time rushing. But when they did, Houston couldn't stop them. I mean, I think Robinson was averaging about 6 yards a carry. It was insane. It looked like he was averaging 12 a carry. And the best part about this Browns offense is the rushing attack. Kareem Hunt has been a monster, and Nick Chubb might be back.
I forgot to say that.
It's questionable. If he does, it's probably on a limited basis. But still, that 1-2 punch is insane, and I think that they'll really just power through this Houston.
He practiced today.
Yeah, I mean,
it sounds like he might be, like you said, a snap count or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be on a pitch count, but I think he's gonna play. I think Baker got a little bit of time to refresh himself, and when Baker isn't pressured, he is a much better quarterback. And this Houston team can't generate much pressure. I think they'll be able to put Ward on Will Fuller and contain him a little bit, and that kind of just stalls that offense. I mean, it's all Deshaun Watson at that point.
Cook's been looking good.
Cook's been fine, and so has Randall Cobb, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. I think this Browns defense is good. They can generate pressure. It'll be a little bit of a shooting match, but I'm with you guys. I think the Browns to the play.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
All right, on to the next game. So this game is we got a line for it, but it's a little under question right now. We have the Washington Footballs at the Detroit Lions. The spread is -4. Detroit is giving 4 points. There's no over/under, but Matt Stafford is questionable to be playing this game, and Kyle Allen just got ruled out for the year, I believe.
Yes.
Out for the year. So Alex Smith will be starting in his place. What do you guys think of this game?
I have no facts, no evidence, no statistics for any of this. I just don't trust either of these teams to play in a game that's not crazy, close, or comes down to the last play. Do you really have enough faith in the Lions to cover 4 points? Because I was leaning Lions at first, and I'm sitting there. I'm just like, I can't trust them to win by more than 4.
This is like the Washington Giants game of last week. I just don't even want to fucking watch it.
Yep.
Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's trash.
Yeah. I mean, I actually like the Lions if Stafford's in. If not, I'll take the Washington. And I still think Stafford's a pretty good quarterback. He has Hawkinson and Marvin Jones and the Halls, whatever they have over there.
Marvin Hall.
Marvin Hall, whichever one it was.
Marvin Jones and Marvin
The
Hall.
Marvins. It's the Marvin
Marvins. I think at home the Lions ended up squeaking this one out. But yeah, 4 is tough to. I think this line's going to move a lot closer to a pick 'em. But with Stafford, I would like the points, but if he's out, I'm taking Washington all day.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Give me the Lions.
There it is.
Just going to go with the Lions -4. I think Stafford will play. I think he'll kind of tough it out. There was question he wouldn't play last week with COVID. He was fine.
Like my same caveat, Lions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a line. It really is a Lions if Stafford plays. But even then, Chase Daniel's a good backup. They're gonna, for all things considered, he's not that bad. And they'll get Kenny Golladay back this week.
Yep.
They have Marvin.
Maybe.
He might be. Again, there's a lot of injury concerns, but they've got the 3-headed rushing attack with Carry-On, Swift, AP. The offensive line is not great, but it's not bad. I think it can handle Chase Young and that front 7 of Washington. And that Washington offense they just struggle so much, even against the Giants. Giants have a good defense, but they're not great either. And Washington struggled to put points on the board. I think the Lions can get into a shootout with them, and I think the Lions can cover this line if Stafford is playing.
So you say that Chase Daniel is a good backup. I know you're not saying he's great or anything, but this dude, he got a touchdown in garbage time to TJ Hawkinson this last week, and so he now has in his career 8 total touchdowns for $35 million in earnings. He
sounds like the smartest man in the NFL if you ask me.
I don't blame him for that, but all he does is sit there on the sideline, and he doesn't ever play well.
Let me put it this way. When I've seen Jake Luton play and Gilbert Gottfried, or whatever the fuck his name is for the Cowboys, we've seen some shit backups play this year. I'm just saying, Chase, you could have a worse situation than Chase Daniel.
Luton at least threw the ball.
Yeah, to the other team almost more than he threw it to his own team.
Next game?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, it's a shit game either way, like I said.
Agreed.
Don't need to spend more time on that.
Yeah. Next game. We got the Tampa Bay Bucks off a brutal loss to the Saints. Going to Carolina to face the Panthers. Panthers +5, over under at 50.5 points. Lead it off.
If you ever questioned how much Tom Brady likes Antonio Brown, you just see how much he fed him the ball. And even if he was double coverage, even if they weren't even on the same page, he threw it in his direction. As a Godwin or Evans fantasy owner, I'd be nervous based on how much he's targeting him. But for this game, it's all in regards to if McCaffrey plays or not. If McCaffrey is in, I love Panthers covering the spread. the offense looks a lot better with him in and out of a passing threat and a rushing threat. It just shows how much his value is to that team. It's going to be a consistent theme of me to saying I'll take them or not with the little asterisks if someone's playing or not. But I think the Bucs bounce back a little bit after that loss and cover the spread. But if McCaffrey is playing, I will be taking the Panthers.
I got all sorts of shit for my one caveat like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then this is the second time Nick's doing it.
But I'm writing it down in the sheet with asterisks.
Like I did.
Anyway,
I could see this game going either way. Honestly, the Panthers are coming off a close game, and I could against the Chiefs, and I could see them coming out here again and keeping a divisional game close, or I could see the Panthers coming out in a bit of a letdown spot after playing essentially their best football they could play against the Chiefs. And I could also see the Bucs coming out on fire, pissed off about last Sunday night, where they just got absolutely dragged by Drew Brees and the Saints. I'm taking the points here. I thought that this was going to come out, Panthers plus 2.5 at home. I thought that the Vegas would overcorrect based on how bad the Bucs looked last week. It looks like they didn't do that. It is plus 5. I'm taking the points here with the Panthers.
I'm taking the Bucs. I'm even with CMC, I think that this number is still not enough. I think the Bucs are a far superior team. I think they had a tough matchup against a division opponent that they already spanked, or that they got spanked by first week this year. Yeah. So I think they just have trouble with the Saints. Otherwise, they have beat up on some teams. They lost to the Bears on Thursday Night Football. Sure, go.
They didn't look so great against the Giants the week before either.
Correct.
That's fine. And the 2 weeks before that, they put up, I think, averaged 42 points a game against the Raiders and Chargers. Not great teams, but neither are the Panthers. Panthers have one of the worst defenses in the league. Like, not even close. Yes, they do.
I thought they were going to. It seems like they've been. I mean, they kept it close to the Chiefs. So, which makes you think that the Bucs are going to that easily?
They scored points against the Chiefs. They didn't stop the Chiefs. The Chiefs still threw all over them.
Yeah, but they kept it close. I'm saying.
Yes, but CMC. I expect CMC not to play for sure. I think with CMC it might be close, but I don't think he's going to play. And if he does play, it's going to be on a very limited snap count. And Mike Davis is he's fine, but he's a big drop off. I think the Bucs will be pissed off. This isn't much of a road game for them. They're going, 2 states over? It's not even going to be that far. They might even hop on the bus. I think the Bucs are going to come out strong. Godwin's going to be in a second week back from injury. Antonio Brown another week in the offense. Mike Evans still looks banged up, but a little bit healthier. I think Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones will run all over him. And I think the Saints have a great offensive line. And that kind of negated the pass rush and the strength of that Tampa defense, which is the front seven. The Panthers do not have even close to that offensive line. They will be in the backfield all day. Teddy Bridgewater will be running for his life. I mean, shit, did you watch the Chiefs game? Half the time, it was like I think it was 4th and 10.
That 3rd and 14 play.
3rd and 14, Teddy Bridgewater runs and dives like Superman to get a first down. If that's what it's going to take, or CMC jumping out of his shoes to catch a ball one-handed to even keep it close with the Chiefs, I don't think they replicate that against.
Like I said, they played their perfect game of football.
That is it.
That was them playing perfectly.
Yeah. If he's not healthy and playing, then this is not close.
Even if he's in, give me the Bucs.
And you're right, I was wrong. Carolina's ranked 26th DVOA in defense, but I'm a little surprised here. They're ranked 8th in offense.
Yeah, the offense has been good. I mean, I think Matt Rule has really implemented a good offense here. They got Robbie Anderson, who knew the system and really helped him take the top off a little bit. Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore have been fine receivers. And then you have Mike Davis or CMC. Teddy Bridgewater has been a good quarterback. Not a great quarterback, but a good quarterback. I just think this front seven's going to get disrupted.
Decent.
I say good.
Decent's not good. Good's like
give us your fucking scale of quarterbacks, pal. What's Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan's done a little bit better than Teddy Bridgewater, but not that much better.
Oh, okay.
I think Herbert looks better than Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you say good, I think we got to lower those a little bit down. Next game, this is a.
You want to introduce games?
I'll start this one, and then you guys can go off.
Philadelphia Eagles are hosting the New York Giants. Giants are plus 3.5, over under 44.5. Nick, go.
This is a big one for me, and probably for a lot of Survivor people that have 2 picks this week. But for the game's sake, I think the Eagles are getting. Eventually, the Eagles got to put it together. The Giants in their last 5 games, their point spread is a combined 10 points. That's wins and losses. They lost by 3 to the Dallas. They won by
the Dallas.
to the Dallas Cowboys.
Was it gonna
They
go?
won by 1 against Washington. They lost by 1 to Philly. Lost by 2 to the Bucks. Then won by 3 to Washington again. So very close margins. I know they went to Philly and only lost by 1. They probably should have won that game if not for
Oh yeah.
very good throw and catch to Boston Scott in the corner. Sanders is coming back. Alshon Jeffrey's probably going to be coming back. They're going to get some more weapons in there. Goddard's coming back. They didn't have really anyone the last time they played together. I think Philadelphia is just coming together a little bit more. I'm going to take the Eagles in the point, the -3.5. This is also going to be one of my Survivor picks. I'm going to be sweating this game out. We'll see how it goes.
So Nick has been talking about Philly all week, FYI.
And I mean, just the stats that he listed out of the Giants, their last 5-point game spread was 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. Whether they're wins or losses doesn't matter. But that's just making me sit here. I mean, I have the Eagles written down. That's who I'm going with. But I mean, you make me just want to go with the Giants because all these games are close. Whether they win or lose, they're keeping it close, and it's a divisional game. I tend to agree with you, though, that the Eagles, at some point, Jalen Reagor has another week back. Fulgham, they're coming off a bye. I'm still taking Philly here. Goddard's going to be another week back into the offense, healthier.
That's why I'm shocked it was that big of a spread, especially home with the Giants.
Yep.
The Bucks couldn't even beat them by 3.5 at home. I think the Eagles are, but Matt, do you have any Matty Maitai? Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm a little torn on this game. I forgot that there was a Thursday night game between the Eagles and the Giants where the Giants really took it to them and had a nice lead going into the fourth quarter. The infamous Daniel Jones falls on his face game. But the Eagles came back. And the thing is, when I watched that game, the Giants just didn't look like they should even be on the same field. Like most of the game, the Eagles looked like in control. They missed a 20-yard field goal. Daniel Jones broke that incredible 90-yard run. They got a couple of turnovers that just seemed like they were getting lucky, or just got a penalty after Philly got a first down on 3rd and 10, and then Philly gets a penalty and they fuck themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just felt like one of those games where Philly was in control the whole game, but the Giants were winning the whole game, and Philly pulled it out in the end. But I think this week Philly got the bye. They got a little healthier. They were able to get Jalen Reagor a little bit more into the offense. Miles Sanders is coming back. That front seven is still very good for Philly. I think Philly can cover the line. I'm going to take the Eagles here. I don't love it. I wish it was 3 or 2.5. At 3.5, it worries me a little bit, but try to shop for a line if you're really looking into it. But I'm gonna stick with the Eagles here.
So all 3 of us took the Eagles, but all 3 of us were wishy-washy. I'd say if I were a smart person listening to this, I would definitely bet on the Giants.
Yeah, I would say if I'm power ranking these, this is definitely not one of my solid ones. This and the Washington game is just. Ugh. But yeah. If anyone is listening to this podcast, I'd bet the Giants. Let's see. What do we got?
I'm really hoping someone said the Giants, so it doesn't make my fantasy a Survivor.
Oh, we're doomed. You're doomed. Kiss of death.
Oh, boy, yeah. Giants going to win outright. Bet at money line, folks. All right, on to the next game. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars and Jake Luton against the Green Bay Packers. Spread opened at Packers -14. Biggest spread of the week. Over-under set at 52. What do you think, guys?
I mean, I've just come to the conclusion that these crazy big spreads like this, with the way Josh Luton did stay in that game last week, I think that this is too much. The Packers are clearly the far superior team. There's Nobody's questioning that whatsoever. And I think they'll win by 10, 12, whatever it is, 14. They set the line right because I'm sitting here and I'm going back and forth with it. I'm taking the Jags.
Nick?
You're taking the Jags?
At 14, yeah.
No one can stop Devontae Adams. It's Devontae Adams. It's Devontae Adams. I'm going to be on this train. Take Devontae Adams. It's going to be all Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones, and then Devontae Adams some more. Then Devontae Adams. Take the Packers and the points at home. This team, the Jaguars can't stop the Texans. They can't stop anyone. This defense stinks. I think they'll probably keep it a little close with the run and try to slow it down. But no.
No, they're going to be down big, and then they're going to backdoor, is my thought.
Screw backdoors. Give me the Packers minus 14. This Jags team stinks.
I know how you guys felt when I picked the Jets getting 17 points.
You were laughing a little bit too much over there, buddy.
Because that was a stupid pick, and your Jaguars pick is ridiculous. I definitely going with the Packers minus 14. The Packers have the 29th best or fourth worst defense, according to DVOA, 29th ranked. Guess who's 32? The Jaguars. Jaguars have the worst defense in the league. It's putrid. I'm surprised they even kept Houston in check, but Houston is a 2-win team this year, so I don't even know how it was that close. Lutton looked fine, but I saw so many passes hit the ground. He's going up against a much better defense than the Packers, at least in a secondary perspective. James Robinson will get his. I'd play him in fantasy. Definitely start James Robinson. He'll probably get a touchdown. He'll probably get 100 total yards at least. So I'd go from that perspective. But I don't see any way they stop anyone. I think Jay Sternberger is going to fucking run wild on this shitty ass defense. I
hear you.
The Green Bay Packers, I just pulled it up, are number 5 in third down conversion rate at 50%, and I'm pretty sure the Jags are dead last in stopping teams.
No, the Titans are. I know that.
Oh, Titans are. So I think the Jags might be.
Although no, maybe not the Titans anymore because the Bears made the Titans defense look that competent this past week. But that's another game. I'll save it.
You're right. No, it is Tennessee. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 20th, so not as bad as I had anticipated. But they're not a good team. They're last in sacks in the league, so they're not going to generate pressure against one of the better offensive lines in Aaron Rodgers. Their secondary is trash. Aaron Jones looks a week healthier, and we forget this, Green Bay is coming off of 10 days of rest. And they're going to be in Lambeau? Fuck that. Give me Green Bay.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be my survivor pick, by the way. Loading up on Green Bay this week.
You're going to lock this up too, or?
So, no, it's not my A+ for sure. And that actually ends our 1 o'clock slate this week, which is really shocking. You want to know why?
Because we have more 4 o'clock games than 1 o'clock games?
You know why?
No. Oh, with the Masters.
The Masters.
Yes, but I still don't like it.
So the Masters are going to end at roughly around 3 o'clock this Sunday. Obviously, that's going to be on CBS. So CBS can't do their primetime game of the week until that's over. And no offense to the NFL, the Masters is one of the few things that can move the needle on that.
Yep.
Granted, they're not going to let it run very long, but we only have the 5 1 o'clock games. We have a big slate of 4 o'clock games.
I hate it.
Dick, do you want to do your trivia? Because I know it's Masters related.
You know it's Masters related, and
Sebi Ballesteros.
And I actually was testing it out with Chris. Check out the other golf podcast, but didn't want to.
Yeah, check in on the Masters pick show. Me and Chris break down the Masters, but let's get to the
So
trivia.
yeah, I was going obviously last week with the presidential election. I wanted to go somewhere there. This week with the Masters being involved, just giving you a brief summary of some history from the Masters. And we'll start off. The Masters tournament was originally started in 1934, being called the Augusta National Invitational. In 1940, it switched and was now called the Masters. However, the green jacket wasn't associated and introduced until 1949, when it was first presented to this 3-time winner. Fun fact, the same player who got the first green jacket also was the first winner of the par 3 competition that was introduced in 1960 with a winning score of 423. Who is this player? Now, you guys can think about this a little bit more. Matt, I feel like you may need some options because I don't know how much your golf history is. Bird, maybe?
I have a name in my head, but I'm not. Is Sam Snead?
No, well, do you want to give our options, or you want us to just guess?
I didn't know if you guys wanted options.
Let's talk it out for a second first. If we need a hint.
I don't know 40s golf that much. If you got up to like the 60s, or if you went back to the 20s, like that, I got 40s is tough.
It's very tough.
I'm gonna just blind guess. I'm gonna go with the course architect, which would be Bobby Jones. But I think once you name off some people, I might change my tune.
I'm gonna give you 4 options. It's gonna go Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, Sam Snead, or Jack Nicklaus.
Sam Snead.
It's definitely not Nicklaus or Palmer.
Sam Snead.
Palmer
Gary, all three, Gary Players, Nicklaus, and Arnold Palmer are all 50s and 60s. So Sam Snead's my bet.
Sam Snead is correct.
Nice blind guess.
3-time winner, which
Blind
is
guess
crazy
my
that he
ass.
won in 1949 and then won 11 years later with the par 3 competition. But yes, Sam Snead is your correct answer. The course record for the par 3 is -8. 8 under, 19 score by Jimmy Walker in 2016, not so recently.
Oh, okay. Let's say I thought they did away with the par 3 this year
Yeah.
because of COVID.
And because of COVID.
Yeah.
And as a heads up, now no par 3 winner has ever won the Masters, as a heads up.
You did know that.
There's no par 3 this year.
Did I send you the? Did you guys see the thing I sent you? The who hit it? John Rahm skip it over the water just like Vijay Singh did back in the 90s. I love that.
That is unbelievable.
That was insane. Rahm actually had 2 hole-in-ones in the practice this week. So if you're interested in that,
But as a heads up, no one who has done well in the par 3 competition has ended up winning. That 2 people have come in second, but no one's ever won.
you know what's wild? This is one of the first weeks I can remember where the hole-in-one prop bet is actually in favor of yes than no.
Wow.
It's -200
It's
for
juiced.
yes.
-200? I was gonna guess like -130.
Well,
I mean, there's pretty much one every year. But
Yeah.
What is it? 16?
16 is super short.
Yeah.
It's super short. Everything feeds into the hole.
Oh, I love watching that hole though.
That Rahm one was a perfect example. Just rolled right to the hole.
So I mean, that -200.
It's like a mini
not-
golf course hole where it's just a funnel to you.
because that is only on the weekend, so it is less people that get a chance at that.
Yep.
But still, everyone has a good shot. And then to wrap it up, I had another one wrapped up, but Chris kind of got confused when I brought this up. As a heads up for people about the green jacket, I don't know if people know this, but the winning person only gets to have the jacket for a year. If people didn't know, they only can wear it outside the grounds for a year, then they have to bring it back into the...
And it stays in your locker.
It stays in your locker within there, but one person actually had it for a little bit longer than a year. It's not a 2-time winner, because the 2-time winners get
Tiger this year.
2 people get, and that's the other caveat. Before this year, there was someone that had it for a little bit longer than a year because of COVID. Everyone else had it for a year. Actually, Gary Player actually forgot to bring the jacket back.
I have heard that before.
Year, when he first won in 1961, he was the first international player to win. He was brought it back to South Africa. When he came back to the Masters, he forgot the jacket. The Masters officials come on. And he was like, well, you can go get it if you want to. I'm not going back and getting it. He said, well, just don't wear it out in public. So
That's
he
awesome.
ended up returning it back to his locker a little bit later, but did forget about it. So he actually had the jacket on for a little bit more than a year.
I'm just surprised they didn't just ban him for life, just with how stuffy golf, especially back in that time, back in the 60s, of how stuffy the golf rules are. I love golf, but
I think that might be one of the best trophy/awards you can get in sports.
Oh, yeah.
A green jacket. That's such a fucking cool award.
and just getting to choose the dinner that night, getting to put it on the next winter the next year, just all the prestige with it it's so cool.
I mean, Stanley Cup's up there with it too. That's one I would imagine just
Stanley
an
Cup
awesome
and-
award, but that green jacket is.
See, the thing is, the green jacket, if it was I don't know if
It's a little too restrictive.
It's too restricted. I have it for a year, then I
You can wear it whenever you go on the grounds.
You can only wear it there.
Yeah, that's just so snooty. It's like everyone there has it.
Then again, if you won the Masters and you can become a member at Augusta, I'd go there all the time.
And also, you don't get multiple-time winners. Don't get two different jackets. They actually get one jacket, and it's stamped with whatever ones you have.
Yeah,
I
I saw Bubba with that a couple of years ago. He won a second one. So, nice trivia, Nick. Very topical. Appreciate it. It's good. Make sure to tune into the Masters if you want a break from some of these shit games that are on the 1 o'clock slate.
Yup.
Oh, I mean, multiple TVs. Gotta have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a great weekend for the multi-TV setup. All right, we're going to get a quick word from our sponsors. Today's sponsor is Pizza by Alfredo. Why have a small amount of really good pizza, Nick, when you can have a large amount of mediocre pizza?
That's a great question.
Exactly. Pizza by Alfredo, limited to 1 coupon per pizza. Okay, let's get to the 4 o'clock slate of games here. We're going to lead off here with the Buffalo Bills at the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are favored by 2 points. Over-under is 56. What do you guys think?
This is the first one that really stuck out to me when I was creating my own lines. I really thought the Cardinals were going to be favored. I thought the Bills were going to be favored. I guess not much, like Bills -1.5. It's Cardinals -2. And I think that the Bills are better than what people had expected. They finally came back and looked good last week against a terrible Seahawks defense that I came on this very same podcast last week and said, oh, the Seahawks defense is better than you think. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I was wrong. And the Cardinals are quietly second in run block win rate and pass block win rate, which still makes me want to take the Cardinals against this Bills defense, which has been a lot worse than expected. But I'm going back and forth. I'm taking the Bills. I'm not confident in this one, but
You're taking the Bills. That's a tough one. I'm also a little confused. I don't know how these Cardinals play against really tough opponents, but because they kind of have a good game and then a bad game. Last week against Miami was kind of a letdown. Like I thought, but Miami again. We'll talk about that in the next game. They kind of look good. I'm going to take the Cardinals. I think 2 big wins from the Bills against the Pats and Seahawks at home. Now they have to travel cross coast into Arizona. I know there's no home field advantage, but there's still a little bit of a getting away from your home stadium. I think the Cardinals edge this one out. It's going to be a close game either way, but I think they have a little bit of a slump game from the Bills. I don't think they're going to be a big win team when you look at the final standings. I'm going to take the Cardinals.
I don't think the Cardinals necessarily played poorly against the Dolphins this past week. It might have been a letdown from them after a big win against a divisional rival in the Seahawks. And I was shocked at Cliff Kingsbury for trotting out that field goal. And the guy missed it. Zane Gonzalez missed a 49-yarder. It was right in the middle of the uprights. How often do you see a kicker just fall short? And it's not like he hit a 56-yarder, I want to say, earlier in the game. I think Cliff Kingsbury kind of shit his pants there, but that's part of the reason I'm going with the Bills.
I'm struggling with this game.
I did too.
On the one hand, I love the Cardinals. I love their offense. Their defense has surprisingly been good this year. I was just looking at the numbers. They're 10th in DVOA. They are actually 7th in third down stop percentage for the defense, which is crazy. They generate a decent amount of pressure, even though Chandler Jones is gone now. Patrick Peterson's still there, so you can put him on Stephon Diggs if you want, or John Brown if you're really worried about him, and kind of lock it up a little bit.
You lock it up.
The Bills, on the other hand, just took it to the Seahawks, and I think the Seahawks are just a better version of the Cardinals. Even though the Cardinals beat the Seahawks a couple of weeks ago, I think the Seahawks have a better offense, and their defense isn't as good, but the way that Buffalo generated pressure this past week, I just looked. Over the last 3 games, the Buffalo Bills ranked 2nd in pressure rate, in sack percentage. So they're getting a lot of pressure. I think you put Tre'Davious White on Hopkins, give him a fucking fit all day. And if Hopkins is really in trouble, it's Kyler Murray dinking and doinking and running.
I mean, you saw it was the Christian Kirk show this past week.
Yeah,
it did very little.
It was Christian Kirk, and it was Kyler Murray running. He had to run for his life most of the game. Miami was getting a lot of pressure. I think Buffalo can get some pressure on this offensive line. I think the Buffalo defense is becoming the defense that everyone expected at the beginning of the year. They kind of struggled, but they got healthy linebackers now. The secondary is starting to come together a little bit, and I think they're just becoming a more holistic team. Ever since Zach Moss got back, the offensive rush game has been good. Josh Allen had a couple of struggle games there, but with his full arsenal of receivers, I think if you give me the 2 points, I'm going to take the Bills.
And to your point about the Bills defense here, you said they're ranked second in the past 3 weeks in terms of pass rush. On the year, they are fourth in pass rush win rate, but they're 16th in run stop win rate. So we'll see how much the Cardinals try to run on this Bills defense.
Yeah, I for some reason, this line looked at me and I said, why is this? Vegas wants us to pick the Bills this week with a -2. I just think.
I thought it was going to be a pick'em. So to be honest,
you thought it was?
Yeah.
I looked at this game and I said, Bills seem like they're coming off a couple good wins. I feel like people are going to bet the Bills and give the Cardinals a little bit. I think this line is just a little bit funky, which is why I'm going to take the points in this.
Get it?
Cardinals are a team that just strike me like the Cardinals might even win by like a fucking point. Just like they're going for like a 2-point conversion or something stupid. Like
it's going to be a weird game, but yeah.
Yeah, give me the Bills. I mean, yes, this is a definite spot. Cardinals got let down to Miami. Bills just got a big win against Seattle. Everyone saw it. So I'm worried from that aspect.
That's why I'm looking at it.
I just think that. I mean, Bills got to travel west, but I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. I just agree. Give me the Bills. I could be wrong on that one.
Let's move on to the game.
Next game.
Let's move on to the game with the second and third best rookie quarterbacks in the league.
Woo! That's not even true. The next game on the docket here is the Los Angeles Chargers. I might as well just call them the Los Angeles Herberts because that's really all we have these days. Against the Miami Dolphins.
Whoa.
The Dolphins -2.5. Over-unders at 48.
Your fantasy team will say Keenan Allen's looking pretty good there.
Keenan Allen's been great. I think they have a bad week. What do you guys lead off? I don't even want to talk about them.
I'll start off and be very quick with this. The Chargers are making more cases to be the one team that loses worse than the Falcons.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough to watch. I'm more numb to it because I've seen it so many times. Maybe all of us have probably seen this a lot where teams somehow lose in the worst way possible and then somehow top themselves each week. The Dolphins, for some reason, I don't know what's with this team. I said it last week about the Raiders, but this Dolphins team, and was it Brian Flores? If they continue to go, he may be coach of the year with how they bring this Dolphins team.
He's in consideration.
I mean, everyone, it took a little bit of time to get this team going, but that defense looks somewhat. They got pressure to Murray. They got pressure last week. The winners of 4 straight. Tua is making great passes, make smart decisions. He's been able to maneuver the pocket well. I'm going to take the Dolphins off of a defense where the Chargers. I just don't see the Chargers defense holding the offense in Tua, and I see the Dolphins making one play and the Chargers falling short again.
I mean, I look at this game. I'll tell you off the bat. I'm taking the Dolphins. The Chargers find new ways to lose every single week. I think it'll be a close game. I still think the Dolphins pull it out. You say that the Chargers have become the new Falcons in terms of no, they've been the worst team in terms of losing, other than a Super Bowl. I get that that's worse. They have had 39 one-score losses in the past 5 seasons.
Oh,
that is insane. But how do you 39?
But the Falcons blow the leads in short spans.
Oh, I get what you're with the
fourth quarter.
With the 98, 99% win percentage. Yeah. I get what you're saying, but yes, the Chargers just do it every single week. I still, like I said, I think this game's close. I'm taking the Dolphins. Somehow, the Dolphins are laying points, and I like it. I don't get it.
I'm going with the Chargers.
Shocker.
And I'm ready to get that again.
So, here's my reasoning on it. The Chargers, as you said, have blown so many games. But just as a few years ago we went 12-4 and led the league in wins for the AFC, but we also led the league in one possession wins. It was just we were just too lucky. We shouldn't have won all those games. Just as this is incredibly unlucky, and we should not lose this many games by this dramatic of a fashion. The Falcons were getting crushed earlier in the year. They made adjustments, and now they've gone on 1-2 in a row in tight fashion, but they've won them. And I just think that the Chargers' offense is too strong for this Miami defense to stop them. And to be honest, this Miami offense is not good. You can say what you want. They had a good game against the Cardinals. They didn't have a good game against the Rams. 2 or 3 for under 100 yards.
Yep.
Their third down rate, I just looked over the last 3 weeks, is bottom 2. Like, 2 is fine. He'll make some big plays. We're getting Joey Bosa back this week. He was out last week with a concussion, which gets rid of any pressure rate we would have had. That's why I loved the over last week on the Chargers-Raiders game, because we weren't going to generate any pressure. With Joey Bosa and Casey Hayward back, I think the defense will be better. Not good, but it'll be better. Enough to stop Tua. And I just don't think we can continue to lose in this dramatic of a fashion. I know it's going to be a tough matchup between Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and those Miami cornerbacks, but
You still haven't learned.
no,
He's ready to get hurt again.
listen. Hang on, the Dolphins just came off a 2. Nick just talked about this with the Bills, right? They came off some easy wins. They had Jets, then a bye, but then the last 2 weeks they had a dramatic win against the Rams when a lot of people thought they were going to lose that game. They just beat the Cardinals, who they weren't even favored in that game at home, and that was a dramatic win that they took off. And the Chargers are getting all of this bad press because they're blowing these games. That's the narrative you were talking about with the Bills and the Cardinals. The narrative of, oh, the Chargers suck. Oh, it's 2.5. I don't even get 3 with the Chargers. Give me the Dolphins. Fuck that. I'm going to take the Chargers because they won the game outright.
What do you think about this over? Because I was wondering about, but I mean, I was thinking of smashing this over at 48, but you do bring up a good point that this Dolphins offense, I don't know how much they're going to be able to get done against a decent, average Chargers defense.
This is the fourth lowest line of the week for over-under. I would take it over just because the NFL has been trending that way. But in my head,
way too low.
In my head, I think it's 24-21, honestly. But it could easily be 27-24, something like that. So this one's going to be a tightrope. Maybe take the over, but I don't think it's a smash. Like last week seemed like a smash. This week, not as much. Miami's defense is good.
Yeah, I just think the Chargers. I mean, Arizona was number 1 offense. They kept up with them.
Yeah.
In Arizona, I think they're coming together towards another game under his belt. He impressed me a lot with some of the plays he was able to make.
He did.
And his maturity on where he places the ball I see that. I mean, with Joe Burrow last year at LSU, where the way he places balls to wide receivers is unbelievable. It's at an NFL level that not many first level quarterbacks can be at. A lot of people like Brady developed that over time, and obviously he developed that a little bit more over time. But the way he can dunk it and put it in a place where his wide receivers can get a ball and make a play is where I like it. It's not he's trying to make the perfect throw. He's trying to make a throw that his wide receivers can make a play on, which I like out of any quarterback. And it shows maturity at a Tua that few quarterbacks have.
Tua is a great quarterback. Second best quarterback in the game. Herbert is better.
Oh, in this game, I thought you meant in this game.
NFL.
I'm like, shut the fuck up.
He's the second best quarterback in this game.
I think it's too early to tell.
Herbert is a better quarterback. I think we made the right decision. I think they made the wrong decision. This is a battle of the draft picks. I'm taking Herbert. They're gonna fucking win the game and prove you wrong. I can't.
And I don't care because we made the right pick with Burrow number 1.
I need someone to clip this.
Don't worry. Next week when we make these picks, we will be leading off with that sound clip. Don't worry.
So, but what I love the most with Tua, just watching a left-hander throw the ball and the plays that he makes, it's just so much fun because we never see left-handed quarterbacks. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
He's not even the best quarterback on his own team. Fitz magic. Let's go. All right, we've talked enough about the Chargers. On to the next game. We've got the Denver Broncos at the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders are favored by 5 points in this one, over under at 51.5. I'm going to lead off with this one, actually, because I'm actually fucking astounded with this line.
I was too.
The Raiders are not fucking good. and I'm
I thought,
Yeah, but neither are the Broncos. That's the issue.
give me the Broncos +5. I mean, it's just one of those games where Raiders defense is still fucking trash. They didn't really stop us. We kind of ran all over them, and we should have had a touchdown at the end there.
Mhm.
So what? You gave up 31 points to a mediocre Chargers team, and the Broncos beat us. The Broncos, not a great offense, but they can get it going any given day. They've got good tight ends, good receiver, good running back, good quarterback. The defense is playing better. I just for 5 like Raiders should probably win, but for 5 points, give me the points.
I think you said one thing in there that you can't be comparing these teams to how they play against the Chargers.
Just the latest opponent.
So it's the latest opponent, but I think the Raiders, I said it last game, I think they're well coached. I think they're at home. I think the points, I thought this line was very well placed. I thought it was going to be a -3.5.
That's where I had it.
But it's a little bit more, and at -3.5, I was going to really jump on the Raiders. I'm still going to lean the Raiders here because I just think they have a more complete team. I don't know why. I think Josh Jacobs is going to get break out a little bit more than he has. He hasn't been as good as he was last year.
Or the beginning of this year.
Or the beginning of this year. I think he gets back on track this week.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm taking the Raiders as well. It's too many points in a divisional game, but I trust this offense more, surprisingly, with Derek Carr. And this defense has been a little bit better than I was expecting. I think that the Broncos are going to revert to the mean a little bit, and they've been putting up, I think they're averaging 28 points over the past 3 weeks, and I don't see that continuing. I'm taking the Raiders -5.
I mean, just one last note. Falcons held them to 6 points before the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And that's the Falcons. The Falcons know they're going to give up
And
points
that
in the fourth quarter.
and their
But the
defense is
Falcons-
bad, and then they're in prevent defense
Yeah,
entirely.
and they gave so in a system where the Raiders have a better defense than the Falcons, they probably have a more well-rounded offense than the Falcons, even though the Falcons' offense can go lights out to nothing. That's why I look at that game, even though I just said don't compare how teams play against our shitty teams. The Falcons handed it to the Broncos, but I think the Raiders at home will win.
Just to throw in a third shitty team, the Falcons did almost bungle that game again for another crazy way to lose a game.
I mean, it's the fourth quarter. I mean, if there's any line on the Falcons' fourth quarter lines, take the other team. Don't take the Falcons.
I almost want to change my pick, but I'm going to stick with my guns because I know I'm looking. I like the Raiders. I do. I think the defense is trash, and I think Denver can hang with them. So, division game, give me the points.
Yeah, last week you said we convinced you on some games, and it caused you to go 3-11. Now you're trying to correct yourself. Let's see if that helps.
No, that's my gut reaction. All right, on to the next game. We have the Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. Spread is Rams -2 over under 55.5.
Seahawks, Rams, I just don't know what to think about this game because I've been very heavily on the Seahawks. As I said, the Seahawks wagon the last couple of weeks, stuff like that. They've kind of put up some bummer. And I look about how, as good as an offense I think this team is, that defense is just atrocious. Like, in the Rams coming off a bye, I think Robert Woods is going to have a good game. I think Cooper Kupp's going to have a good game. I think Higbee comes back and has a good game. I don't know why, and I'm going to probably regret saying this, but I like the Rams home off by -2.
I mean, I'm leaning the same way. I'm taking the Rams. To me, this game feels like a jack of all trades versus like a stars and bums matchup where the Seahawks, all they do well, they're okay at rushing the passer a little bit. And the only thing they do well is throw the ball. They can't run the ball this year, which is surprising. Their defense is so fucking bad. And the Rams just seem to be above average, like ranked 10th in almost every single category you could picture. And to me, I know that they shouldn't be getting points at home, but I think they're getting points because they're coming off a bye week and they're trusting Sean McVay with that much time to prepare.
Yeah.
And I'm going to trust the same way and think they can win by 2 in a divisional game.
I'm with you guys. We're all going to be on the Rams here. I know it's terrible when you see that, but For all the reasons you guys just said, and I think one thing that's going to be a little overlooked, Jalen Ramsey is going to be able to shut down one of those big corners. He'll probably be on Metcalf, if anything. He'll lock down one side of the field, so it's going to be, hey, double Tyler Lockett, and then Aaron Donald's going to get in the backfield. Russell Wilson's going to have a good job of scrambling out of there, but I think it's just going to be chaos the whole game. They are well rested off the bye. I think this Rams offense, especially when you give them extra time, can really pick apart a defense. They'll get a lot of those gadget plays in. And, I mean, they've got all the tools. Darrell Henderson will be back. They've got 3 running back monsters with Malcolm Brown and Akers. I'd play Henderson if he's healthy. And then you got Kupp, Woods, Higbee, Everett. It's just I think they're going to be able to pick apart this defense. And one of the struggles for the Rams is their offensive line. You ain't going to struggle with Seattle's defensive line. They fucking suck. So they're going to give Goff plenty of time. I think they're going to get plenty of gadget plays in there, and I think just the Rams cover at home.
Okay.
And I'm wrong every other week on the fucking Seahawks. So we'll watch them fucking win.
Same. I think we're just on opposite weeks.
Yeah, all right. On to the next game. Matt's Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Matt's catching a fucking break this week because Big Ben looks like he might be out with COVID, along with a few other players, including Vance McDonald. The Steelers are still favored by 6.5 points as of right now. With the Big Ben being out news, it's kind of a tentative line, over under 45.5. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, like you had mentioned, it's Vince Williams, Ben Roethlisberger, Vance McDonald, Jalen Samuels, all currently out. No.
Oh, I thought you
Vance McDonald, Jalen Samuels, currently out with COVID. We'll see if they're false positives, if they're allowed to come back. It's still early in the week, so there's plenty of time. Beyond the COVID, Big Ben went down with an injury last week. He's the king of, he is definitely a tough guy, but it's such an odd combo to see of being such a tough guy and playing through injuries, but also making it seem like a paper cut is the biggest fucking injury in the world. He plays up his injuries so bad, but he still plays through it, so it's tough to hate on him for it, but it's just funny to me.
You're talking about a guy that's destroyed the Bengals for how many seasons in a row?
I mean, I don't want to talk about it.
so I think
we've had our share of wins. It's not been many. I'm not trying to claim it's a 50-50 split, but we've beaten them a few times as well. And we'll see if maybe the Bengals can end the last undefeated team in the league.
Yeah, so I think the Steelers, if Big Ben's playing, I like them in the points. If they don't have him, I'm going to take the Bengals just because that offense can kind of put up points, even though the Pittsburgh defense has looked pretty good throughout the entire season. This one's I just don't trust what's it, Rudolph?
Mason Rudolph
to cover that much of a spread when with Ben Roethlisberger they couldn't cover against Dallas, they couldn't cover against who was it the week before?
But that's what's curious to me is the struggles that we just saw against, and clearly that was a game that they knew that they were likely going to win, and so they coached down to the level of their competition. But is that a 1 week thing, or did we start to see some of the downfall of what this team is? It's how were they that bad? How did the top ranked defense in the league let up that much to a 4th-string quarterback that nobody had ever heard of before? Who played in the AAF most recently.
When you have 3 good wide receivers in Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup.
Yep.
It opens up some gaps.
It's not like Zeke even did much.
Zeke didn't, but he's still got a good couple chunks here and there, and it's always a threat you have to watch out for.
Yep, for sure.
So when you have that many weapons, you tend to find some gaps, and some guys play well with a good game plan. So, but Bengals in the points is what I'm going to take.
And I'm in the same boat. If the Bengals, if there's no Ben, if it's Ben, I don't think you're going to get this line at 6.5. But if Ben's there, I'm taking the Steelers.
Care. Steelers minus 6.5. I don't care if Ben's not there. I'm very impressed with the Bengals this year, especially with Joe Burrow in the offense. And a bye week may help that, especially if they get Joe Mixon back. That might be a big help to the offense. But Steelers defense is fucking nasty. And while Dallas kind of managed to get some points there towards the end, they were really struggling. The Steelers defense is a team is a part of a team that can really just carry all the way through the game. They don't get tired. They don't back down. Okay, you get up on us early, that's fine. You're not going to score another fucking point. We're not going to let you get any farther ahead of us.
Oh, yeah.
And they really stuffed them. I think they can keep the Bengals under 20 points and probably closer to 14 to 17. And I think the Bengals defense is just so fucking atrocious. It really is. They're 29th in DVOA. They get no pressure on anybody. They traded away their franchise defensive end a couple weeks ago. Not that he was super effective, but still, that's a leader of your defense. Like, I just don't have enough faith in the Bengals defense. Even if it is Mason Rudolph, I think Mike Tomlin will just lean on the running game, and
They haven't been able to run. That's been the surprising thing for me with the Steelers. And not that our run defense is worse than our pass defense, so I know they'll be able to.
Well, and Dallas isn't a great defense, but they're stronger stopping the run than the pass, and they've been getting a little bit healthier with Van Der Esch there now a couple weeks back. And the week before they played Baltimore, and they didn't move it a ton, but Baltimore's probably got the best defense in the league, maybe. So Pittsburgh is a team that usually plays to its level of competition, so the line worries me a little bit. But if they only have to cover a touchdown, I'm going to take the Steelers. And it might get a back door. Like the Steelers might just get up and then the Bengals back door. But
Every game this year has been a one-score game, well, other than the win against the Titans. But every game except for the loss to the Ravens, we've kept it close. So that's why this does worry me a little bit. But I'm still going Steelers if Big Ben's in.
I mean, if Big Ben's in, definitely the Steelers, especially at -10. But if he's not, I'm still going to take the 6.5. I'm worried, but give it to me. All right, on to the next game. We have the San Francisco 49ers at the New Orleans Saints. Saints opened as a 10-point favorite, over under 49.5. Nick?
Without the weapons, the 49ers couldn't even stop Devontae Adams or Aaron Rodgers. I think with Breeze, with Kamara and Michael Thomas, and another week, I think 10 is a low line for a 49ers team that has no one on offense or defense that's healthy. So Saints. Easy.
Finally, we got to see the Saints defense that we were expecting at the beginning of this year against a division opponent in Tom Brady and the high-powered offense of the Bucs. I think that they're going to continue this. The Saints also have a great O-line versus this Niners decimated defense. The Niners are below average, mediocre at stopping the run, and pretty damn bad at pass rush. I'm taking the Saints -10.
But as Matt will say, the 49ers have a decent backup, so it doesn't matter, right?
I'm very tempted to take the Niners here.
They have a good.
Well, I mean, it plays against all the narratives that I normally wouldn't want to bet. The Niners had an embarrassing Thursday night football loss where they got fucking asses beat by the Packers, and they had no one in the game. Everyone had fucking COVID. And then the Saints, on the other hand, have a great primetime game where they beat up on Brady, and now they're going to be laying 10 points. That in my head just right away says bet the fucking Niners, because especially getting 10 points. It really worries me about that 49ers defense, because honestly, Nick Mullins to Jimmy G is not a fucking difference, because it's not that Nick Mullins is good, it's Jimmy G fucking sucks. They get Brandon Ayuk back, they get Kendrick Bourne back. Debo, I don't know, is he going to be playing? I doubt it, but still, they're not bringing practice squad fucking receivers up to start the game this week. It's a little different. Jordan Reed's a little bit healthier. Tevin Coleman might play. Jerick McKinnon is going to play. I am worried that the Saints just are going to outduel them here, and it is Saints at home, so I don't like the Niners traveling across the coast. Everything in my power says bet the 49ers, but it just makes me sick to even think it.
So what are you?
To clarify one thing for you, Matt, Debo Samuel has a chance to play. Everyone else that was on the COVID thing is going to come back, no issues. Debo with his hamstring has a shot to play, according to Shanahan.
Fuck it, give me the Niners.
Go with your gut. That's what you said you were doing.
See, I thought it was going to be a bigger spread. That's why.
If it was 14, this would have been a no-brainer. But like
10 is, I thought it was a good line. I thought they didn't overcorrect it. I thought it was I think even if you go with a Saints win that was a small win over the Bucs, and then you go with a small loss over the Green Bay Packers, I still think it's a 8.5.
It's just a tough coaching matchup. I think people can love Bruce Arians all you fucking want. I think Sean Payton's superior to Bruce Arians by a good chunk, and I think Kyle Shanahan is not that much inferior to Sean Payton. Therefore, Kyle Shanahan is better than Arians. But I just think that you give a guy like that, who's an offensive mastermind, 10 days to prepare, and then you give him some of his actual weapons back. Jonah Williams, or Jonah, no, not Jonah Williams. That's your tackle. Who's the fucking Trent Williams?
Yes.
Trent Williams is going to be playing.
Correct.
They were missing one of the best tackles in the NFL last week. I mean, it's brutal. And I am worried Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Alvin Kamara, they could all go off, but everything in my power says bet the Niners, so I'm going to go with that. All right, on to the next game. We have the Baltimore Ravens at the New England barely can beat the fucking Patriots.
That's probably what, like plus 13.5 or
Pat's plus 7.5, over under at 44. I'll let you guys fire in this one.
I think if this was a closer spread, then I see the Ravens blowing them out. But the fact that they're getting 7.5, I feel like Bill Belichick doesn't lose when they have that big of a spread to start. But the Patriots lost to the Jets in a game that the Jets are just too good at losing football games. The Jets are the kings of losing football games.
Don't underestimate Adam Gase's ineptitude.
So I think the Patriots try to take a page out of their book and try to lose that game, but 12 men on the field, and then they say Joe Flacco just throw one up and get the pick. Nick Folk comes in and kicks the field goal. I think the Ravens, without Stephon Gilmore and the Patriots defense that we're used to seeing last year, I just don't think the Patriots are trying to win games, and I think the Ravens steamroll.
I mean, the Ravens.
I don't think they're necessarily trying to lose games. I just don't think they have the personnel anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I think it's 8 players opted out before the season, and then injuries.
They're not trying to win this year.
And Cam finally started to look somewhat close to his old self. I mean, I don't know if it was truly just COVID that was affecting him or he just got in his own head. But with the Ravens, though, it's been last week at least was a tale of two halves. They put together 55 total yards of offense in the first half against the Colts. But the Colts are actually a good defense, like what we thought the Patriots were going to be this year. But again, with those 8 opt-outs, I think 6 or 7 of which were on defense, the Pats defense is clearly trash. They only beat the New York Jets by 3 points and gave up 27 to the New York Jets and Joe Flacco. Ravens will be able to look a lot better on offense this game against the Pats than they did against Indy. I think they'll get the passing game going a little bit, and even if they don't, the Pats' run defense has not been great, and that's what they're good at. I'm taking the Ravens.
I'm on the Ravens. We have a full round of Ravens.
Great.
Normally, I would say Bill Belichick is going to game plan Lamar out of this, and really, I mean, he usually does. But this isn't the same New England team anymore. I'm not worried about the Ravens running away with it and scoring 30 points. I'm worried that the Pats might get shut out. Honestly, like
this defense.
The Pats offense looks terrible. They struggled against the fucking Jets of all people, and they've struggled all year. They had a good first 2 weeks against Miami and Seattle, and since then they've looked atrocious. They're really getting behind with defense and special teams, and like Cam just not himself. And now you're going to go put him up against probably the best defense in the league, or top 3 at worst, with 3 stud corners against Jacoby Myers. Edelman's is still out, so you got Bird, Myers, and
maybe N'Keal Harry
against Jimmy Smith, Humphrey, and Marcus Peters. Yeah, right. They'll be lucky to catch 3-4 balls the whole game, and then you're going to get a nice pass rush. They've got good linebackers. Baltimore's got the number 1 special teams ranked in DVOA. The Pats are going to need a fucking miracle to score. If anything, it's going to be on a pick 6 or something like that. Honestly, this is my A+ matchup for the under. Not for the Ravens, but the under. Its under is 44. It's the lowest number on here. I think it goes under. That's how I think this game is 21-7. It's really just that much of a defense game. Maybe 21-10, but like
now that you just say that, I'd love to tease Ravens -1.5 and under 50.
51 or 50. Yeah, sorry. 50, 1.5 and 50.
Love it.
I might put that in. That's a money one.
And is Stephon Gilmore ever going to decide to come back and play? Because that might make the defense come back and look decent or close to average or something. But he hasn't played in 3 weeks now, I think, and I don't see any updates on him. So at this point, I think they're just holding him out because they know they have no chance.
Well, and I think, honestly, if he's even questionable and they're not playing very well,
Exactly.
why ruin a great trade chip? Because clearly this team needs a lot of pieces, and the only way you're going to get it is by, one, shedding some cap space, which they will once some of the dead money is gone next year. But 2, trade away an aging veteran Pro Bowler.
Yep.
Get a fucking second round, first round pick for this guy. Like, I'd do it. So
I'm locking up the Ravens. I couldn't decide what I was
That's your
doing.
A-plus matchup?
That's my A-plus matchup.
A+ matchup.
Wow.
Man, I totally forgot to put one down.
Yeah, so I'm going to do the over-under as my over-under this week. And
Is that your over/under lock of the week?
yes.
Or
Yep.
Or just your lock of the week?
No, it's my over-under lock of the week.
Okay.
We all have to pick each one of these. So
Yeah.
do you want to get to the last game? Do you have time?
Yeah, just very quick.
Okay. Vikings at Bears. Bears are favored 2.5 at home. Over-under 44.5. I'll lead this off. I'm going to take the Bears.
I wanted to say the Bears. They've lost 3 straight. They've looked so bad. They're at home. I think they make it together. This one is confusing to me. But the Vikings have shown me the last 2 weeks, are still playing very bad teams, that this is why they kind of were a playoff team this year. The Bears' offense is so bad.
So bad.
So bad. And I just think that Dalvin Cook, Thielen, and Jefferson, who is running NFL routes better than probably the best wide receiver in that core of first-round picks that were taken.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so far this year, there's no question he's the best receiver.
Best receiver, and he's running routes that it makes it looks very good. Tough for defensive backs to kind of cover him, and it gives that extra threat of losing Diggs kind of an afterthought. But I'm gonna take Vikings and the -2.5. Right?
Yes,
-2.5, right?
correct. When I first saw this game, I thought it was going to be close to a pick 'em. Bears -1, Bears -1.5, something, just because the Bears have the better record, divisional game, they know each other well. I was a little surprised to see it all the way down to Bears +2.5. I'm still taking the Vikings here. Like you said, the Bears offense is just holy shit bad.
I just don't trust offense like that.
I mean, and some people might say from last week, well, Foles was missing 4 of his starting O-linemen. You can't really blame the offense and Foles that much. But Joe Burrow, the week before against the same Titans defense,
fucking Burrow.
He was also missing 3 starting O-linemen, and had the best game of his career so far. So Nick Foles is trash. I honestly think they might as well see if Mitch Trubisky is any better again, and just one final look at Trubisky before they get rid of him next year. So I think they're getting rid of him either way, but
he's hurt.
Yes, I know, but I think he would be eligible to come back and play health-wise, and they've held him out.
All I'm going to say is the Minnesota Vikings lost to the Atlanta Falcons, starting the Falcons' hot run this year, and
The 2-game hot run, or is it 3?
3.
Okay, my bad.
Won 3 games. The Vikings were their first win. They've won 3 since. Well, two more other than the Vikings game. I mean, yes, the Vikings have had 2 cute games, but guess what? Here's the game plan. Stop Dalvin Cook, and you'll win the fucking game.
Good luck.
I don't trust Kirk Cousins. I don't know about you two.
No.
Stop Dalvin Cook, you win the game.
Good luck.
It's a tough one.
I mean, they've been playing Detroit and Green Bay. 2 terrible run defenses. The Bears aren't very good, but they're not any worse than those 2 teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Bears defense has a good run defense. I think
We'll see.
I don't think they have a good system defense.
I am either gonna go fucking 2-12 this week, or I'm gonna go 10-2 because I'm picking completely against you guys this week.
Yeah.
I gotta make up some ground. I'm way behind. So,
Hey,
all right, real quickly, let's give our A+ matchups of the week. Sounds like Libs is going with the Ravens. Nick, what's yours?
I need something to switch up my mojo. I've been very confident in what I've kind of picked as teams, but I'm going to go with the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles -3.5. I don't know why, and that's why I'm picking it. I don't have any faith in it at all, but it's my lock. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, it's logical.
Sometimes you got to, when you go 0-2, you got to switch it up a little bit.
It's logical.
I'm going to go Eagles.
I gotcha. My A+ matchup of the week is going to be the Bucks -5. I just don't think the Panthers are in the same class with them. I really don't. I think after an embarrassing loss, the Bucs are going to come out. Fucking Antonio Brown might have 150 receiving yards. He'll just dance all over the Carolina grave. Oh yeah, it's going to be a show. I'm telling you. So give me the Bucs. So we have Matt with the Ravens -7.5, Nick with the Eagles -3.5, and I have the Bucs -5.
Don't tell any of my friends that I picked the Eagles because I have two friends that are my brother and a friend that are big Eagles fans. But let's fly Eagles 5 this week.
Oh, God.
Real quick with the over-unders, I have the Ravens-Patriots under 44. Nick?
I'm going to go with the Rams Seahawks over.
Over. Okay.
I just think these teams like to score. And for the Seahawks to get into this game, they have to score points, and the Rams are going to put up some numbers off a bye.
Matt? Bengals, Steelers, under. Good defense for the Steelers, terrible defense for us, but I don't know how good that offense is going to be, judging by how they looked last week, and it's a divisional game. These are always slugfests.
And if Big Ben's out, then
that's a
think
whole
that's
other
great.
thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's move on to Survivor picks for this week.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Okay, unfortunately, Matt and Nick both had to step out for the rest of the show, so I'm just going to be doing this Survivor section by myself. I know for a fact that Nick will be taking the Eagles as one of his Survivor teams this week. I think the smartest play this week is actually the Green Bay Packers. That's who my Survivor is going to be this week. Jake Luton is good, but I just don't see him going into Lambeau and beating Aaron Rodgers. The Packers are on 10 days rest. The Jaguars just have an atrocious defense, and it feels like the safest play on the board. Another play that a lot of people will be using is the New Orleans Saints. They're favored by 10 at home against San Francisco. San Francisco is just banged up. New Orleans is firing on all cylinders after the Tampa Bay game. I think they're a good confidence play right there. The Eagles, as I mentioned, is Nick's play. Eagles are going to be a very good pick as well this week. Let me rephrase that. I don't know if they'll be a good pick, but they're definitely going to be a popular pick. They barely beat the Giants last time they played each other, but if you're trying to find a matchup where you can take a little bit of a risk so that you can save some of these better teams later down the road, then the Eagles are kind of a savvy play, but to be honest, it could backfire based on their previous matchup. They do get Miles Sanders back. They do come off a bye. They have some people healthy. Alshon may or may not play, but in either event, I think they'll be firing on a higher level than they were the last time they played the Giants. Another pick that looked good at the very beginning of the week that is now kind of questionable and puts it kind of in this Eagles range is the Pittsburgh Steelers home to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers have looked great. They're undefeated, but they could be without Big Ben. This is an AFC North division game, so you never know with these division games. That's a lot of time where these survivors are lost, and if there's no Big Ben and we got to rely on Mason Rudolph versus Joe Burrow, I think Joe Burrow's better. But the Bengals do have a rough defense, and even if Big Ben doesn't play, Pittsburgh's defense should be able to hold Joe Burrow in line, and you'd think Pittsburgh could pull it out at home. So that's not a bad play. Another potential play, if you haven't used them already, would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are going to be at the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers do not have Christian McCaffrey, but again, this is a division game. Tampa Bay's going on the road. They didn't look good against the Saints, but we know they're better than that. It's a little weary to take a road team in a division game, so I try to stay away from that. If you're really trying to get risky, I think Cleveland Browns at home to Houston Texans is an interesting one. Cleveland should have back both their running backs. The Texans have looked terrible and can only beat the Jags and barely beat the Jags, so there's a decent one if you want to go a little bit more off book. Ravens at Patriots, you could use this one. I think the Ravens are going to win, but why risk it against the Patriots when you know they're going to go play the Bengals and the Browns and some other shit teams? So I wouldn't really go with that one. And that's pretty much all I see on the board. I know some people like to take a little bit more of a risk, maybe the Raiders, perhaps the Vikings, but I think those are my picks. I'd say number 1, Green Bay. Number 2 would be New Orleans. Number 3, Steelers if they have Big Ben. 4 is probably the Eagles, and then 5 for me would be the Cleveland Browns. So that's it for Survivor. The only thing left that we have to talk about is Thursday night props. I know Nick isn't going to be here to do this. He mentioned to me before I started recording that whatever T.Y. Hilton's line is, just go under, under, under. He thinks he's terrible and he's not going to have a good game. And he's had a bad year, but the over-under on T.Y. Hilton's receiving yards is 32 yards, I believe. Might be 34. In either event, I've seen T.Y. Hilton get plenty of balls and get that amount of receiving yards in one play. So you could have a T.Y. Hilton 40-yard bomb. Even if he only has 2 catches, he could easily get the yards. So I don't know about that play. The intriguing play that I kind of like is Derrick Henry under 84 rushing yards. It's such a risky play because he can just bust one off at any point, and they love to feed him the rock. But the Colts had the number 2 rushing defense in the league. They stymied the Baltimore rushing attack the previous week. I think the only decent run there was a Lamar Jackson rollout towards the goal line, and it's kind of hard to stop Lamar sometimes. So, but they held Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins in check the whole game. They have a great rushing defense, and if Derrick Henry doesn't break one off, he's going to need at least 20 plus carries to get to that 84. So that could be an intriguing play, but it's a tough matchup tonight. There's some pretty low lines. Shop around, but that's pretty much it. Okay, well, thank you all for listening at this point. We didn't end up breaking down the episode into 2 different episodes. We just made it one lengthy one, but going forward, we will divvy it up a little bit more. We'll probably do the 1 o'clock games releasing on Thursday, and then we'll have the 4 o'clock games, the Survivors, and the Prime Times all coming out on Friday. So that'll be the structure going forward, but for today, it's just 1 episode. Remember to like us on YouTube, share it around with anyone you can. We really appreciate you coming in, and thanks for listening.